My name is Giacomo Forbes. I've been living in Austin for 11 years. I'm 45 years old. I'm a hairdresser here in Austin, Texas. I grew up in the industry since I was a kid. Lived in New York and LA and DC doing this business. I started getting into hair growth during this fashion era, but I was losing my hair because I was big in fashion and partying throughout the cities in New York and LA. The one thing that I tried was sort of aromatherapy, which I think maintained a lot of the growth. And years later, which is like 20 years later now, I was really sort of depressed because maybe about the last couple of years it's been leaving me quickly. About 6 months ago, I discovered ManeGain, which was this incredible new machine that came to Austin, Texas first. This Joshua Martin had pretty good hair loss. I'd say he was down to about 30% of his hair left. And I've known him for 10 years. And after about 14 weeks under the ManeGain machine, I discovered that he was really growing hair back. And I was inspecting him through the whole time, seeing especially for the back and the front. And after 14 weeks, I was super fascinated and interested. And I just remember telling myself one day at home before I came to work, I was like, I better get on that thing. Because I'm going to be losing my hair and Joshua's going to be getting his hair. And my appearance to me is everything, which hair is everything to probably everybody. And I started, and I think within 10 weeks, maybe even less, I started seeing at least the follicle getting thicker, the hair growing better. I noticed a few other little miracles, which I thought some of my gray had disappeared in the front of my hair, which I thought interesting. So you all had given a ManeGain party, and I had met Barry for the first time, so I just sat him down and kind of drilled him. Super curious how this machine came, evolved, and why it was doing what it was doing. Because I had a few questions. My hair was thicker. I was feeling happier. I was actually a little bit more calmer than I normally am. And I could notice, when I go swimming, which was when I really noticed it, that I really wasn't thinning anymore, or it wasn't thin anymore. And Barry gave me all the information, all this new technology that he put into the machine. The ManeGain thing sort of gave me another outlet to get people to have thicker hair, because probably 50% of my women, the last, probably since New York, so probably back in 90, 91, I've noticed that we're losing their hair, thinning, and thinning quickly. Kind of hit a certain age and then got thin, and women in New York get their hair blown out, at least once a week, twice a week. So you're really involved in this sort of hair thing that goes on, but you're sad because there's really nothing to bring it back. I tried the aromatherapy treatments with them, but mine was more like it took you, an hour. You got to get on it every day. This was something that you sit on our machine for 25 minutes. So I started re-enticing my clients that were just thinning, that I noticed that would, in 10 years from now, really be thin, to get under the machine and try 10 sessions, and even just one session or even 3 sessions. And in all those small terminology sessions, they were getting their hair was stopping the sort of hair loss process, and the follicle was getting thicker, the hair shaft was getting thicker. They noticed it, I noticed it, it made my work better because their hair was healthier. Then I tried adding treatments into this process also, and all my clients loved it. As they're loving it, I'm doing it, twice a week. And I have my clients that have known me for 20 years from New York that still come here that are like, wow, your hair is back almost to the way it used to be. And I didn't really realize that they noticed that it wasn't. So it was kind of an interesting process. That's sort of why I am, I think the process with ManeGain is you do your treatment set and then you just do a maintenance package and you keep it up. I mean, I've been doing it maybe once a week, and I notice that my hair stays the same way. If I skip the second week, something starts happening where I'm like, oh, I better get back and do another treatment. I think if I felt bad or looked bad or my hair was balding, I don't know what I would do. Move to Canada and change my name, be a hairdresser at a barbershop, I don't know, something. But I know my hair is very important to me. I know it is important to the clients. And I know this machine has done something for me that all my treatments in the last 20 years have maybe stopped it from falling out. This one actually brought my hair back, and it's bringing it back. I'm sure in the next, year or so, it'll be interesting to see how I'm going to look like I'm 16 again with a big afro, I'm sure. But most important, I think that doing this treatment sort of helps your attitude. Your hair feels good. It's kind of funny. That's that weird thing. All of a sudden, you're all worried about your hair. You get under the machine. 10 weeks later, you forget to why you were doing this, because you look at your hair, it feels thicker. But I think the trick with this machine is to keep on it. Every time you get your hair cut, every 6 weeks, every 4 weeks for men, like just get back in there, even one session, just sort of pumps it up. And it's a happy machine. I've talked to Barry about that. It just makes you feel good when you get out, whether it's psychological or emotional, it feels good. You know, my daughter, who's wandering around here somewhere, is 11 years old, super honest. And last year, at the end of the summer, she was like, Papa, your hair's thinning. You know, I'm like swimming every day at the pool, like your hair's thinning. So I was like, okay, I'm going to work on it, and I pumped it up. And then this thing kind of came along, and I jumped in it. And we've sort of been rolling this for 6 months almost here, I guess. And now we swim every day and boat every day, and I've never heard her say one other word. This machine, by the way that it makes me feel and look, is that my hair's thicker. I think my skin even looks better, but I feel calmer. I mean, it's an interesting thing for someone to come up and say, hey, what's going on? Like, I've been watching you, and like, you seem so chill. Like, was I not before? Yeah, so that's that weird thing that there goes along with the beauty and the health and looking good and feeling good, and that this machine's doing multiple things, not just one thing. And I think in the future we'll see with great products and stuff, everything like elaborated well together with the salons, that, you know, hair restoration is not going to be the John Bosley dude that comes on, you know, with the bald head and then has super thick hair and plugs and surgery or a wig or a scalp. That we're going to see in a very short amount of time. We can take a person that's very thin and look very thick. I think there are some other health benefactors for. I have a client with alopecia that's been a miracle to me. 2 of them, actually, in just a few treatments, 4 treatments. Hair's doing much better. And like hair's back in, it stopped falling out, the itching stopped. So there's other health aspects to this that hairdressers see with their clients all the time that we don't really know what to do. Go to a dermatologist. Oh, let's do a little treatment on your scalp and stick you under ManeGain. Like, we're sort of the doctors of hair and scalp. Like, we should be able to have a tool to use and not just a dermatologist.